Hello, my name is Jay Carpenter. I am founder of StarChain, and it is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September the 24th, 2024. And this is our Tuesday evening session for the StarChain community to come together and get an update on what's been going on and basically bring everybody together, answer any questions, and talk about how we're going to be moving forward. So I expect a few folks to be joining us. Hello, Serge.
Hello, Jay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
So cool. So tonight, a lot has happened in the last week, and I'm happy to say that there's more definition, more clarity around the structure of StarChain, and we've been experimenting with some various things, and certain things have emerged that are just amazing to me. So overall, I am really, really delighted with how this is all coming together. And Serge has created a couple of things, a Rust decoder and also a Node.js decoder that I think are really cool. And hopefully we'll have those up on GitHub tomorrow. But anything you'd like to say about those before I jump into the presentation or anything, Serge?
Yeah, I was just experimenting with them and I wanted to share those with the community so we can all have a look at it and be able to contribute to them. So
Cool.
it'll be great to have it on GitHub so we can download them and run them. So if you want my help setting that up on your local machine, I can definitely do that.
Cool. Well, you're doing exactly what this is designed to do, which is to push the logic and the code and everything like to the endpoints and keep the directory, the registry, and so forth, what I'm going to be talking about, in a very, very minimal state and fashion. So I'm really, really happy that you're jumping into some of these um, use cases and projects and things that will inspire others to create similar projects and code that can serve various needs on the endpoints. So very cool. All right. Well, let me go ahead and jump into the screen share and run through this. So, um, all right. So hopefully you can see that now. But what's emerged is a viable way to create a registry construct, registrar, and registrants in a very decentralized fashion. And this is something that I'm familiar with from my history in telecommunications and Web 1 and 2, and now Web 3. But I think this is a very, very powerful structure, especially when we're talking about trust and security and staying decentralized and so forth. So the before we totally get into that, I wanted to highlight how the star chain starts. And it starts with a set of numbers that I consider to be universally agreeable. And what do I mean by that? I mean that basically 15 zeros followed by 64 zeros separated by an asterisk, and then another asterisk with 15 nines, another asterisk with 64 zeros. I'm not sure that's that would disagree with anybody's worldview, or anybody could have a anything other than, yes, this is what it is. I have no disagreement with it. I trust this, and it's likely to stay constant, uh, at least in the foreseeable time. I can imagine. I can't imagine what would ever change this, other than maybe substituting out the asterisk as the delimiter between the fields. So that's how the star chain starts. And then you can see this on the Stellar mainnet blockchain. It was recorded, and you can go to this link and see it yourself. And there's also an IPFS content ID, which is subject to garbage collection. So sometimes these content IDs might need to be refreshed. But basically, this, and there was other activity prior to September the 20th. But what happened was that activity, which I think started, I don't know, maybe around the 9th or 10th or something like that, brought up certain needs that pushed me to create this registry, registrar, registrant model and pioneer some ways to do that in a way that I'm really excited about, at least, that I think is very versatile, minimal, and portable to other chains as well. So here is that IPFS gateway run by Pinata, where you can add the IPFS content ID and actually pull up the first link of the star chain, which again is 15 zeros and all zeros and nines basically. So you can play with that. This is the Stellar Chain Explorer, where you can actually look up this non-fungible token that was created on the 20th. And what Surge has created, which is really cool, is right underneath StarChain is a base 64 encoded version of a bit.ly link. And then when you decode that, which Surge has created some code to do that in both Rust as well as Node.js, JavaScript, then all of a sudden you've got this bit.ly URL that you can throw into a browser and pull up that, basically pull up this. So that's a very good beginning of how we can access the StarChain data and the identifiers, as well as the public keys and public and now private key, public and private key hashes. And that's been a really, really powerful sort of epiphany with that, which I'll go into later, not tonight. But anyway, then as we move forward, it's basically a very simple structure where you've got identifiers that are 15 digits, and that's a bounded realm. It's a very big realm. It's like a quadrillion links that could be created, followed by at this point, a hash, a SHA-256 hash, which is 64 characters. And all of this is separated by an asterisk, which is part of the reason that it's called StarChain. And that's the bare bones basics of how this is structured. No code, no databases, no nothing. But out of this, what's possible, and this is the hash, which I'll show in a little more detail in a moment, but these are the two sort of placeholder or beginning PGP public key and private key or secret key, and combining those two files and doing a hash of that file containing both of the public and the private keys results in that hash. And that starts to become a foothold for trust and consistency and a whole realm of, I think, really, really interesting dynamics of this thing. So what I'd like to focus on, though, is this registrant, registrar, and registry model. And you might notice that this is kind of upside down compared to what we usually see with the domain name system. Normally, we got a top-level registry with a layer of registrars And then underneath the registrars, we have registrants. This is purposely, um, internet is, I apologize, my internet is really spotty for some reason. So I'll get back into the screen share and Serge, I assume you can hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So I was saying, if you missed it, that this is purposely flipped around from the way we normally look at the domain name system, where the registry is at the top and the registrants are at the bottom. This is opposite. But in any case, the as this progresses, you'll see the chain grow, the StarChain grow in various levels, possibly at the registrar, and certainly at the registry. But and I'm not really going to go into that tonight. But this is a sort of a diagram of how the construct is intended to work. And the most important part about this is that there's a choice. You could be a participant in the StarChain ecosystem and be both the registrant and the registrar, and still, have an entry in, or one or more entries in, the registry. But I think that there's big advantages for registrants to engage with a registrar, similar to how we do with registrars in the domain name system. There's a whole host of services that can be uh, added to this, that add to the trust, basically. And primarily, this is designed to boost trust and also boost ease of use. So, and smooth over the complexities that we normally encounter when we're dealing with addresses, naming, certainly public-private key, cryptographic key management, etc. So to talk about that a little bit and elaborate on it, here is an identification of what the three levels are intended to do, which is the at the registrant level. That's primarily where the choices and the responsibility reside. And what I mean by choices, uh, that'll be more clear as this moves along, because the registrants will have a choice as to what human-friendly uh, phrase or word or whatever they want to use or incorporate into their use case with their StarChain links or identifiers. They will also have a choice as to what public and private keys they populate into this ecosystem. And they will be able to generate those public and private keys. And that's, I think, really, really important. Um, so, but there's also a big responsibility with that. They also have a responsibility to give their best efforts to assure that they are the subscriber for a telephone number, if there happens to be a possible telephone number associated with the StarChain identifier or link that they happen to be using at any given time. So that's where we shift now to the registrar level, which is designed to be a level that's focused on authentication and validation. Authentication of Start to authenticate who's the user here. Who are they? Um, uh, do they have is there somebody else that thinks they've got the rights to a particular StarChain link or identifier? How are we going to handle that? There's a whole governance issue around that. But the authentication also, I think, can be very valuable if there's techniques like having a video session that starts to form the basis of the authentication of the registrants. And then validation is, okay, are they submitting a valid public-private key pair? Uh, are they, do they, are they using a valid identifier? Does it meet the 15-digit parameter and so forth? And then the registry, which is it should be the largest set of links, StarChain links and identifiers. That's designed to provide order and aliveness. And if you're following along with what's been happening on the Stellar mainnet, you'll see that right around 2 p.m. Pacific time each day, about 5 minutes after, there's an entry, and it's coming from the registry. And that is, as long as I can keep it up, because I'm doing this stuff by hand at this point, it's not automated, but as long as I can do it and keep this cadence going, that will happen, even if there's no change. So for instance, there was no change today from yesterday, but there was still an entry in the Stellar blockchain. And I think that sort of heartbeat is really, really important, and will continue. And by the way, I don't foresee a bunch of changes in the near term because we're now starting to focus on some other dimensions of this, which are really important. But so basically, if you're seeing the registry come out and send an NFT to the registrar, then and that's it, and it's then you'll see a hash that's comes out in the form of a NFT sent to the registrar as well. And if that hash is the same, you know that nothing has changed. So that's pretty much it. I do encourage folks to join the Discord. As much as I am hoping that StarChain replaces Discord, it's turning out to be the best choice for our community to come together. Here's the Zoom link, my contact information, and then this is the Discord, the StarChain Discord server, and I've highlighted the daily Stellar posts because after an entry is made, something's created on the Stellar blockchain, there's a post that's made so that it's a nice summary of what's going on, and you can do a one click and go to the blockchain entry for that particular day and so forth. It also gives you a nice summary of the time spacing on this as well. So yeah, here's our Zoom's information, and I believe that's it. So I'm going to stop the screen share and Serge, ask you if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, observations. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm trying to fully understand the entire system, Jay. So I wanted to know the part that you do manually right now. How can we go about automating that? Do you have uh, any input on that, where we can make a automated process that can actually do those,
Yeah, I think,
some data?
yeah, definitely. And I think what you introduced today with the Node.js, I was excited about because I'm familiar with Node.js and JavaScript. I'm not familiar with Rust. And so, and I have some capability with the JavaScript and Node.js capabilities of the Stellar ecosystem, Stellar Classic, if you will. I haven't gotten into Soroban yet and the Rust piece. So yes, we have to automate this. Uh, the part of what I want to put in place, Serge, is I have talked with someone who is planning to create some agreements for us so that we all have a clear understanding of what we're doing, what how this is going to operate, and so forth. So in addition to me getting my arms around this and slowly working through it and then letting things emerge, and it's been amazing what's been emerging in terms of the functionality and how the pieces are coming together, in addition to taking that time and yes, going through it painstakingly, step by step. It's very consuming for my attention because it's permanent on the chain. But I the idea is to engage developers, and the part of the agreement set that I envision is having a a way for developers to post projects they'd like to do. For instance, you could have posted those two projects. You could have said, hey, StarChain community, I'm interested in creating a Rust decoder and a Node.js decoder. And in exchange for that, I would like to have maybe, I don't know, two uh, StarChain choices. So choice links, if you will. And it's something that you might build some sort of project on. So you might get, for instance, 1111 Surge and then your last name, or 1111 Raspberry Pi or something. And, you know, then that would give you something to build or to hold on to, or you might be able to put it in the marketplace and you know transfer it to somebody else for a some sort of market-based price. I don't know, but having the agreements in place so we all understand how that's going to work, and frankly I think I know how it's going to work using NFTs and so forth, but until I start to play with it and until I get it into your hands and some of the other developers that are interested in this, and so we're going to kind of take it uh,
Step by step, right?
step by step. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. Like for me to understand this, I would want to know what transactions would occur in Stellar. Those have to be identified because then I can work on some sort of a demo or a small integration with the Stellar's testnet to be able to perform those transactions programmatically. In this case, whether we use Rust or any other available platform that we can use, such as I believe we can use JavaScript. There's a JavaScript SDK, right, that talks
Correct.
to Stellar. And so depending on which transactions we identify that creates those Stellar NFTs, we can then move ahead with all the bits and pieces of this entire system. Then it will all come together for the main system to function correctly.
Right. And that's really critical because in order for this thing to move fast and to scale, that automation has to be done. And then once the automation is done and the star chain starts to grow, then the focus can move into, okay, how do we take these identifiers and the public private keys, and with those simple pieces, how do we create something really cool on the endpoints? And that's what I'm really excited about, and the other developers that I've been talking to, I think they're really excited about it. Creating gaming. One developer who's getting excited about this, I said, what do you want to do with this? And he goes, hey, I want to create gaming NFTs, and then I want to create decks for the NFTs, and which would be really cool. And I think we can definitely do that, and we can do it in a way that's um, that's different than other chains and other ecosystems. So does that kind of answer your question a bit?
Yes, thank you, Jay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pleased with how it's coming together. If you have any questions, please reach out. We're going to have these sessions every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Pacific time. And I invite you to join the Discord because we're starting to get some activity there and conversations. People are contributing things like Surge. And I really feel there's synergy happening here. So, um, and please let me know if you've got any questions or whatever. But I'm happy with how this is coming together, and I'm really excited to share with you some things that will be forthcoming that I think could address some really significant needs and use cases. So, all right. Um, look for the GitHub tomorrow, and we're going to start throwing some code up and building this thing. And yeah, and looking forward to it. So,
Sounds
anything
good.
else? Anything else you'd like to add, Serge?
No, that sounds good. Thank you so much. And yeah, just let me know the GitHub credentials that you will create for me, and we can then upload. But if you need help setting it up, I can also set up the Rust environment for you. So you can have the Rust executables running. You can also run the Node.js server locally on your machine. I did provide an API key, but it is a constant value right now. We do have to put that in an environment file so that that doesn't go into out there to be just visible from anyone. But we can definitely assign API keys for use with the demo.
Cool. And you asked about the Surge, but I am very interested in having some in-person, workshops and hacks and stuff like that, and possibly Los Angeles. Uh, I intend to spend my time between Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Phoenix. So, and we can experiment with some, Zoom sessions and virtual sessions and stuff like that too. So, step by step, and yeah, I'm really grateful for everybody that's showing interest in this and the passion around their interest. I had a very powerful conversation this morning with someone, and very excited about that. And I think this person is as well. So, all right, I'm gonna turn off the recording and say goodnight and appreciate your participation.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.